Before going into the details of algebra, I'm going to take a quick lesson to talk about real numbers. And real numbers are going to include many numbers that you have probably encountered before. So that includes the natural number subset. And our natural numbers are going to be numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on until infinity. But these do not include fractions. Then we have our whole numbers, and our whole numbers are like our natural numbers except they're going to include 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Then we have integers, and integers are going to be like our whole numbers except they also include negative numbers. So we can have -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And natural numbers, whole numbers, and integers are all examples of rational numbers. And rational numbers are going to include integers as well as numbers that can be expressed as ratios of integers. In other words, fractions. So we can have things like 2/3, 1/4, 2, 5, 500. These are all rational numbers. Similarly, something that looks like this, 0.333 recurring, this is a rational number that we can recognize as 1/3. Something like 0.181818 with this 18 part recurring is also a rational number because it is a decimal with a repeating pattern, similar to 0.333 recurring. So these are all examples of rational numbers. Now we can go into irrational numbers, and irrational numbers are also real numbers, but these are going to be numbers that cannot be expressed as simple fractions. So they're going to be numbers that either have non-terminating decimals, so that's things like e, which is 2.71828, and this is just going to keep going on and on and on until infinity, and these decimals are not going to have a repeating pattern. They're just going to be non-terminating and can continue going on, and so this is an irrational number. Similarly, pi, which is 3.14159, is also a non-terminating decimal. It's just going to continue going on and on and on forever in a non-repeating pattern and is therefore an irrational number. We are also going to have things like the square root of 2, the square root of 3, the square root of 7. Any square root of a number that's not a perfect square is also going to be an irrational number. These cannot be written as simple fractions. So both rational and irrational numbers are real numbers. So in our set of real numbers, this is going to include both rational as well as irrational numbers. And within our rational numbers, we can have integers, we can have fractions. Within integers, we can have our whole numbers. And within our whole numbers, we have the natural numbers. So this really describes the majority of numbers that you're going to be encountering. Now you might be wondering, if a number is not a real number, what does that mean? So we do have numbers that are known as imaginary numbers. And these are going to be things like the square root of a negative number. This is an imaginary number, but this is outside of the scope of what we're going to be dealing with.